Morning Vibes, where you are the MVP. No negative vibes.
Today we want to talk about terrorism and how especially a lot of young people are getting recruited. I found some very interesting facts about terrorism, especially on the Horn of Africa. And we decided hatuwezi ongea kitu bila the experts, and we've got Edwin Wameyo from Counter-Terrorism Unit Kenya atuambie juu ya the situation and how young people are being recruited kwa hii kitu. Good morning, Edwin.
Good morning, Sheila and Dennis.
Kevin.
Sorry.
Karibu sana, Edwin.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
My bad on that. Shukrani kukuwa na nyinyi. At least tuweze kuchanua mjadala kuhusu ugaidi.
Ugaidi.
Ni nini? Mbona mavijana wanakuwa targets probably and what the government is doing to stem this.
Yeah. Now, and I'm glad umemention kwa Kiswahili ni ugaidi kwa wale ambao hawaelewi terrorism ni ugaidi. Let's give it a definition. How do I know this is terrorism?
It's quite interesting. It's a very polarizing term. Dunia mzima watu hawajaelewana bado. Unajua ni vile tu sema one man's hero can be another man's villain.
Yeah.
So there are instances whereby, Kenya can view terrorism as one thing, but in another part of the world it's viewed as another.
Yeah.
But to be on a similar playing ground, naweza ambia mavijana hivi, what they need to know about terrorism, it is the use of violence or the threat to use violence so as to instill fear. That should be enough for them.
Yeah.
Yes. There are so many definitions out there. And at the UN, hawaja agree definition gani ambayo wanaweza adopt.
Yeah.
So that definition is from Webster's dictionary, and I think it puts it in the simplest term possible and makes it easy for young people to understand what it is. Hiyo mambo ya kuweka uoga ndani ya watu tukitumia fujo. Yeah.
Hiyo ndio terrorism. Na tukiangalia Kenya, tuseme the first time yani wa Kenya walianza kuelewa kuna hiki kitu inaitwa terrorism, tuseme 1998. Kila mtu anajua Kenya kilifanyika, the bomb blast. I think it's the first time that Kenyans came face to face with terrorism. But there've been other instances where, either within the country or especially within the borders, right? How does terrorism affect a day-to-day Kenyan? Like, kwa nini nafaa kujua juu ya ugaidi?
Ni vizuri kila Mkenya ajue juu ya ugaidi. And as the National Counter-Terrorism Center, that is what we seek to communicate.
Yeah.
The more we know, the better we are able to stand up against it and those who advocate for it. And that's why every Kenyan should know about it. Why? Because these are groups, and the groups that use this sort of methods are trying to rob us of our democratic gains, the peace we have, and probably sherehe ya kushereheka kila siku.
Yeah.
And that is what we're about as Kenyans. We want to live peacefully.
Yeah.
We want to live in harmony. We want to go about our business without interference. And these guys don't want us to do that.
Yeah.
It's interesting you mentioned that. And we've been talking about this off air, about how young Kenyans are very vulnerable when it comes to matters terrorism. Why do you think this is the case?
It's a very good question.
Especially when it comes to recruiting young Kenyans.
Yes.
Just be specific.
Kenya is, as per the 2019 census, we have a youth bulge of about between 51 to 53%, meaning youth men ni wengi. They're the bulk.
Yeah.
And there are certain characteristics young people have. They have a sense of adventure in them. There's a tinge of rebellion there. It's a stage of discovery. It's a stage of wanting.
Yeah.
It's also a stage of, that a bridge between adulthood and childhood. They want to cross. They're actually thinking about their future.
Yeah.
What do I do after this? And this mix comes with a lot of vulnerabilities, uncertainties, misinformation can be there, disinformation, lack of knowledge in some cases. And this is what these people prey on to recruit young people, misinforming them. I think earlier you were mentioning the whole issue around Antigua and COVID-19 vaccination. It's basically, there's one thing, people are misinformed. It's just similar to, when it comes to recruitment to violent extremism, misinformation, fake news is so much out there, and this is what young people fall prey to when knowledgeable people, not knowledgeable people, but manipulative people rather prey on their weaknesses and this lack of know-how.
All right, we're going to take a short commercial break. 18 minutes past 8 a.m. We are talking about terrorism and who is susceptible to fall prey of recruitment of especially terrorists and terrorist organizations. And, one thing as a parent or as a guardian or as just a community, I'm sure you're asking, okay, where are they doing this recruitment? What mode of recruitment are they using to get this youth? We're going to come back and answer that question.
Morning Vibes, where you are the MVP. No negative vibes.
Now we are speaking to Edwin Wameyo, who's a counterterrorism consultant, and na hapa kwa studio bana kutongelesha juu ya hii mambo ya ugaidi.
I think you wanted to clarify that it's not consultant really.
Sorry.
Actually work at the National Counterterrorism Center.
Yes.
Which is located under the Executive Office of the President, and it's charged with the overall coordination of all counterterrorism related efforts in the country. Yes.
Fantastic.
For most Kenyans, like when we think about security, si tunajua si fence ishawekwa. Si geti ya kuingia Kenya iko locked hapo, askari anaitisha ID for everyone who's getting
electric wires hapo.
Kuna fence. We never actually seriously think about how exposed we are. And just before we took the break, we talked about young people getting recruited to join some of these terrorism organizations or units, for lack of a better term. How do they do the recruitment? What are some of the ways that we have seen that are emerging?
Interesting. What we've seen is that recruitment is quite rife, especially amongst the youth and, online. It can be person to person. It can also be, through peers. Hapo maskani wanashare information, wakiwa base. Namwambia ni aje, kuna janta fulani mahali, situende hivi. Then it becomes just a kind of circle.
And it's so interesting we mentioned Janta. I was watching another documentary in Mozambique, and you're looking at the age group of the people that have been, because Al-Shabaab mazime stretch kwanza eastern, the Horn of Africa. And it was interesting to see at the northern border of Mozambique kona asa Al-Shabaab. Na alikuwa nasema, yani ukiona village moja wametolewa kutoka kwa village. Nyumba zao zimechomwa. Saliwa na interview anasema, toi ni watoi wetu. These are our children. As in, huyu alikuwa na duka huko. Huyu ni nephew wangu. Alikuja tu siku moja akatuambia tutoke, right? And so, it begs the question, what do they see? What when they're targeting the youth, what kind of promises are they coming with them to them for, and who is susceptible? Because I don't think it's everyone, but like which group is susceptible?
I would like to state that, every youth is susceptible. It just depends on their defense mechanisms. The values they were brought up with, the kind of school of thought instilled in them, to be able to resist, or I can say, in a nutshell, how resilient they are to misinformation from these guys. Al-Shabaab is very good at recruiting our youths through false promises, fake promises, through misinformation. They've mastered this art. And one of the stereotypes that I would like to demystify is that it's not the poor only. Even the rich are vulnerable when it comes to Al-Shabaab. And I'll give an example. I think this boy by the name of, Abdullahi Abdirahman, who was, responsible for the atrocities in Garissa. He was an A student from a well-off family.
Yeah.
And it's not the only case. So it's a mix of both.
Yeah.
These guys recruit from everywhere.
Yeah.
They recruit doctors, they recruit lawyers, teachers, the jobless youths, the uneducated one. No one is safe from them as young people. But there are ways to keep our young people safe, and there are ways to equip them so that they are able to resist these overtures from these guys.
Edwin, you mentioned that, and I'm thinking to myself, once they recruit you, they almost brainwash you, and you become such a believer in their ideologies. You never want to hear anything about being a doctor or your family. You're a believer in Al-Shabaab or whatever terrorism outfit they're from. Let me ask you, how? Because you mentioned fake news earlier. And of course now terrorism has also evolved, and now it's got into into internet space and social media. How has fake news really impacted the society when it comes to recruiting our youth, for example?
People normally perish because of ignorance. And one of the first instances I can cite of fake news. Of course, I'll go to the oldest book we have, which is the Bible. And if you read it, sometimes it's good to read every book for knowledge. You look at second chapter of Genesis and the third, and it talks of God creating man and telling him, don't touch the tree in the middle of the garden. You can have everything else. In the next chapter, the devil comes and whispers. The first question he asks Eve, did God really say you can't touch that?
Wow.
He's already questioning that. And she replies, he said, yes, we can't touch from that. But what he tells her is that, no. The reason why he doesn't want you to touch that is because you'll become like him. So you already see the lie.
Yeah, the misinformation.
The misinformation. So if you read through, the consequences follow later. And that is the simplest way I can put misinformation. And what these guys sell in terms of an ideology and a brand. They come with all kinds of false teaching, false promises. They actually call devoted actors. And when we talk of devoted actors, we actually they're agents, who mobilize for collective action. And sometimes they do this to protect values they cherish, not values we ascribe to. Those are their values, not our values as Kenyans.
Yes.
And they're willing to do, anything they deem rational. To them, what is rational is normal. To us, killing 100 people or even one life is not a normal thing.
It's not.
Crazy.
But to them, it's normal. So there's a justification for that. And they don't care. They'll do this and even sacrifice themselves for that reason. And that's why when they come, they'll just ensure that they finish everyone and they're willing to also go. There's no turning back for them. That's the kind of ideology and brand they sell.
All right. So we're going to take another short commercial break. And of course, now we know how they're doing the recruitment. We know who's susceptible, which is basically everybody. Now the question is, okay, then terrorism is really, especially in the globe right now, it is something that every government is ensuring that its citizens know about and is protecting its citizens. So we're going to come back and talk about what are some of the measures that our government is taking to ensure that, our people are safe. Don't touch that dial.
Morning Vibes, where you are the MVP. No negative vibes.
we are speaking about terrorism in Kenya. And of course, I want you to be happy that there's actually a counter-terrorism unit that is ensuring, yani, iko tu rada hivi, si ati kitu ikifanyika ndio wana react, wamekuwa tu on top of things. And it's very interesting, if you travel within the continent, Edwin, karibu sana tena again. If you travel within the continent, I mean, the rest of Africa is very chill when it comes to ukiingia kwa mall, unaingia tu hivi, hakuna mtu anakuuliza kitu yote. Ukiingia kwa ofisi, nobody's doing for you tree, you know. But Kenya, especially ever since we started experiencing terrorism, especially within our borders, we buckled up. Why is it so? Why are there other countries that ziko tu hivyo zimechill?
Well, good question, Sheila. Sisi Kenya tunajua mali kiatu inatufinya. And I think these are necessary and deliberate steps that were taken, by the government in conjunction with the Kenya Private Sector Alliance. It's the umbrella body under which, all these private security firms fall under.
Yeah.
And a lot of efforts have been put in place, especially by the government through the center, to ensure that, private security firms conform to these standards, and that we work together to ensure that the safety of Kenyans come as the number one priority. So the searches have to be there.
Yeah.
It's for the good of everyone. So ukisimamishwa pale, ukienda super, usikasirike. Kitu ya kawaida tu, ni vizuri kuzuia kuliko kulia baadaye.
After the fact. Let me ask you, Joshilo umemention kitu important sana, hiyo story ya kutravel. Naturally, places kama the airport kuna hizo, security procedures. Do you think maybe we should have them in churches, in schools? Normalize some of these things?
Anyway, we would want to go on with our life without, so much interference.
Yeah.
Schools should be safe public spaces.
Yeah.
Kevin, Shil and I, we were of that generation that went to school without worrying about those things.
About everything.
Church was an open place where you could just walk in, not worry about security. But times are different.
Yeah.
We face an enemy who's willing to, make a statement anywhere and everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
So long as Kenyans are there, be it in mosques, be it in churches, be it every day in your everyday marketplace, or hata kwa mama mboga huko Gikosh, stadia wakipata nafasi watatumia hiyo nafasi ku communicate issue.
So new kwa rada juu hizi story zote.
Gava iko rada juu hii story na so many efforts have gone into place, and our gallant soldiers and officers and agencies such as the National Intelligence Service, the National Police Service through its Criminal Investigation Department and the Anti-Terror Police Unit, and our Directorate of Military Intelligence within the Kenya Defence Forces are working tirelessly for us to sleep safely at night. That is what people don't know. These brave men, saa zile tunalala, tunangorota, tunageuka kwa bed, majamaa wako macho.
Unajua kukuangalia hii meme, na najua hadi unaona msa wa social media. Kukuangalia hii meme, ati I know we laugh about it, but wanasema ati sasa leo una block kamera yako ya laptop. Ule mse wa CIA mwenye amewekwa kuwatch. Anajamba sema they blocked the camera. They blocked the camera. Mayday. So intelligence Kenya kuanga rada pia, as in pia I'm sure social media new kuanga on top of things. Mnajua watu wenye wanaongea hate speech kwa sababu ukiangalia social media saa zingine msema amesema kitu kingine ufala. Are you guys also watching places like social media?
Definitely. We are in a battle of hearts and minds.
Yeah.
Social media space ndio au majamaa wanatumia mara mingi kurecruit youth them, na hapo ndio watawatumia vitu. So we have to be in those spaces, and our role is one, and it is a similar role we share with you guys, to ensure that credible, reliable information is 100%. Available to our young people. And that I think is the biggest calling even for you guys, that youth men wapate ukweli, facts, wasipewe mauongo na hizi mauongo ndio zinazaa vitu zingine.
Sasa tuulize, unajuaje ni uongo? So ni nini ukiona post unasema huyu ni recruiter, ni nini utaona useme kuna vitu
ama ni tu mtoi yato akuna tu fala anacheza tu anastua wase home.
Kuna vitu zingine hazikai normal na I think hata mavijana wakichomoa ukiangalia tu hivi utaona jo na ujamaa huyu mbona anataka kukutana na mimi kwa siri. Kitu kingine mbona anatumia jina fake. Na mbona maongeo yake hapa tu ni vitu za hate tu ndio zimejaa. Anaongea mbaya juu ya Kenya, anaongea mbaya juu ya gava, anaongea mbaya juu ya system yetu. It's just a lot of negativity for no reason. You know, these are some of the flags. And in many cases young people will be able to tell. Kuna ile kitu ka instinct wanakuanga nayo tu ya ni vile tu mwongea juu ya girl child, leo ni International Girl Child jana. So you know, when pedophiles prey on them pale kwa mtandao, some they'll always be a hint for some of them that this guy is asking me some things and I was warned about this, or I heard somewhere that this is bad. So nafsi yako ikikataa lenga hiyo story ichoree kabisa.
Niliona Mozambique walikuwa naambia wa mayute ati waombe na viatu. As in umerecruitiwa guys, I'm not even Muslim, but najua Waislamu kabla uende kusali maze lazima uoshe miguu, utoe viatu, uende uko barefoot. Sasa mtu anakuambia uende uombe na boots on. Isn't that a big red flag?
It is a red flag, and you know these guys they turn I can say religion to suit them. And in doing so they try to justify their actions. Unajua sisi tumegrow up tukijua nini kuua ni mbaya, lakini watakwambia kuua jamaa kwa hivi ambaye afikiri kama wewe ni sawa. Tangu lini kuua mtu imekuwa sawa?
Alafu utakuwa rewarded in heaven.
Na utakuwa rewarded na vitu zingine haziko. Si aende akuwe rewarded kwanza.
Speaking of rewarding,
so crazy.
We were even talking about this nini your story private security firms. Guys wengi kuanga irritated, anasema sasa mazee wachijo anaweza ni protect kweli kutoka shabaab. Sasa wasa wanasema the questions are Kenyans question them, wanasema they don't have capacity, especially when it comes to matters being fully trained and equipped, having you know the right ammunition. Hata wao wenyewe they're not really protected. I'm curious though, what are your thoughts on that?
And just before you answer this, I just want to take us back to, you remember when you talked about safety and security, and you know the guys were telling us that it starts with you. And you can, is it possible to arm everybody and get is that the solution? Is that really the solution, or is it to know that it's going to happen?
If you ask me this, first of all, I don't like guns.
Okay.
We all know what guns can do.
Yeah.
There are those who are trained to handle guns and do know how best to use them. The question of arming everyone, I think information available to us hapo umeona tu vitu zinaendelea hata uteto in some states. Hii mambo kila mtu kuwa na ridhe si story poa.
Itakuwa noma manze.
Sasa zingine unajua naweza kuwa naendesha gari yangu huku hivi ukujo niingie mbaya. Mimi na road rage nimefanya nini? Nimechoma mto. Vitu zingine si poa. So kisheria kwa Kenya there's a very clear guideline and law that proscribes the use and handling of firearms. And there's a reason why guys are cleared by the police to do that. And there's been I know the conversation has been sustained for a while between within the country over the issue of the private sector holding having firearms. I think it's still something debatable. One thing I know is that before somebody qualifies to carry a firearm, there are certain steps and processes that they have to go through.
But this question comes from the fact that we know that, especially because of especially in a region where you've got a big unit growing, there's a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Unlicensed guns. And from the last report, maybe you can verify this. We're told that there's about 650,000 guns
Especially in the northern side
yes,
of the country.
that you know, and not even the north. That is mingi hapa recently when there was utatanishi hapa Laikipia.
Yeah.
You know, I can bet you those guns are not at license at gava sunipatie gani and nifanye nini. You know, so how are we protecting ourselves from this, especially guns that are not registered?
There's something, and as I've told you, Sheila, when it comes to guns, you will feel that it's according you protection. But as and you're dealing with a person who's ready to die, you are removing it so that you will live.
Yeah.
But the possibility of dying is also there. Kuna sheria hiyo ya bunduki wanasema, mwenye anaichomoa kwanza ndio ametoboa.
Yeah.
So what's the point of having it? And it's likely to give you some false sense of security if you don't know how to use it. And we should let those charged with this kind of response handle that.
But is the government working on these unlicensed guns that are...
Yes, they are there. The work has been going on. I think the other day you saw some guns being banned somewhere by the president himself.
Yeah.
And that is something that has been happening over time. They're collected, they're banned, and there are instances whereby even the government will communicate and tell guys, niaje surrender. And it happens. But you guys are very key and instrumental in that.
Yeah.
But Edwin, I want you to touch on news story of private security firms. To be honest, do they have the capacity to handle matters terrorism? You know what I mean? Especially when it comes to training and even them themselves being protected. Mtu amekaa hapo kwa stool. You know what I mean? He looks so vulnerable as well.
For every contemporary issue that confronts a society, you learn to adapt. A few years back, we didn't see probably the role of the private security in this. But we've learned our lessons from, Westgate to Riverside. And the lessons are there in terms of, the responses and how the private sector played a major role. In terms of... assisting in
calming the situation.
Yes. And this is visible. And we've also taken deliberate steps at the National Counterterrorism Center to ensure that this is seen through by working closely with the Kenya Private Sector Alliance to ensure that at least standardization and their charges get up to standard capacity building in terms of counterterrorism and countering violent extremism.
And finally, one for especially a family member. If your family member gets radicalized and you're seated there, unashanga, hey, mbona Njugush siku hizi anakuanga weird sana. What are some of the things that parents and guardians and just if your member gets radicalized, what should I be looking out for?
Certain telltale and red flags. So Kevin touched on one of them, and he spoke of a kid probably he doesn't want to hear anything. He doesn't want to be rebuked. He's taken on certain beliefs that are untoward. You can always tell when a child is changing. He has within him a set of or her a set of beliefs that are not what you raised them up with. They start by you might see one or two articles that are very, very that raise red flags. They're reading articles that raise red flags. They become recluse. They start dissociating from their friends. Locking themselves up in the room, wanting to loan, acting mysterious. If you're a parent and probably as a mother and you're a mom and you talk to them and they answer you back angry, they tell you that no, you won't rebuke me. Women are not supposed to even talk to me. I'm a man. This all should start raising certain red flags. These are particular ingredients. It doesn't mean that when you see one, it might be that, it might not be that. It might just be the normal teen reaction. But still, it could be that.
And for someone who's listening in right now, someone has already reached out to them they're in the process of getting recruited,
Yes.
and then they've listened to this show, they're like, oh my God, Nina do?
Yeah.
What would you tell that person?
Yeah.
Should they come forward and let you know that this person is recruiting me?
I'll start by saying this.
Yeah.
To the young people. Just know that you are responsible for your actions. It doesn't matter how you feel.
Wow.
Hii dunia iko na feelings, watu pitia vitu, and it is the next action you take that will determine a lot. So before you take that step, yes, there are ways you can be assisted. You can reach out. Kwa nini wasipigie vibes na vibes watupigie sisi?
Exactly.
Reach out to vibes. You can go reach out to your parent. Reach out to the closest religious leader around there. Reach out to even the state machinery around there.
Yeah.
You are our children. We value you.
Exactly.
We are here for you. Na kuna laini yenye kama hujapita hatuna noma na wewe. You can be assisted. We accept prodigal children. You are our children.
Yeah.
And there are measures and steps towards assisting such kind of people.
Thank you so
in case
much,
somebody
Edwin.
has suspected terrorism activity, like a bomb, weird people around the mall, is there like a specific number where they can call? They can have it even on speed dial.
Yes, normally you can always call on the DACI.
Okay.
They are part of our multi-agency stakeholder. The center is currently working also on a toll-free line where such incidents can also be reported directly and anonymously without any issue.
All right. Thank you so much, Edwin Wameyo, for taking the time out this morning to actually speak to us about something that definitely affects every single Kenyan. And I know Kenyans to learn kitu or two. Remember, you can follow us on hashtag Kwambox and Kev. There's a lot of pointers that have been shared there by the Counterterrorism Police KE. That's their social media handle, CTP_Kenya. And any other thing you want to learn about how we are protecting ourselves from terrorist attacks, you can find on that.
Morning Vibes, where you are the MVP. No negative vibes.